I want to introduce to you another exciting panelist, Dr. Latha Christie. Dr. Latha Christie spent a fair amount of time, close to 4 decades, in India's defense and aerospace space technologies. And her focus areas are microwave, high power, direct energy systems, and electromagnetic simulation. She's working on her second PhD, as if the first one in aerospace engineering was not enough. So her focus is trying to blend multiple disciplines and focus on the intersection of AI and ethics. So I'm sure it's a fascinating topic, and she will dwell into a few things. But I would like to ask her and say, in the area of quantum computing and AI, what are some exciting developments? What are some things you're seeing? And what should we be knowing, Dr. Latha Christie?
Thank you, Sunil, for that wonderful question. And thank you, everyone, for inviting me here.
Yes.
Artificial intelligence is not just another tool. It's improving so fast that even some of the people building it are warning us about its impact. The core reason is quite simple. AI is becoming a general purpose capability like electricity or the internet. It touches everything: learning, work, media, healthcare, security, and competitiveness. It's shifting from answering questions to taking actions, what people call agents, systems that can remember, plan, and execute workflows. We can feel the shift already from write me a summary to read, compare, decide, send, and follow up, from give me a plan to execute the plan. These are all early signs of tools that don't just talk, they do. And many scientists are expecting a future where AI could become more capable than human intelligence, sometimes called as artificial superintelligence. Coming to the next disruptive technology, quantum. It's a new kind of computing and communication built on the strange rules of tiny particles. Classical computers use bits like a switch on and off, 0 or 1. Quantum systems use qubits, which don't behave like ordinary switches. For example, let me give you an analogy for that. A classical computer often tackles a hard problem like checking possibilities one at a time. The way how we would search for a name in a long list of line by line. Quantum, for certain kind of problems, can explore possibilities in more unusual physics driven ways. It's not magic, but what a classical computer can do for years and years, it can do in a second. So, but large scale quantum computing is still underdeveloped. But what is moving faster is quantum communication and quantum security, especially QKD, quantum key distribution. The idea is beautifully simple. In the quantum world, trying to secretly listen can leave a trace because measurement can disturb the signal. That means eavesdropping is difficult. It can become detectable in a way that is different from normal networks. Think of it like this: in ordinary digital communication, someone can copy your message silently. In quantum style security, interception becomes more like opening a sealed envelope and leaving marks. So, what happens now when these two disruptive technologies, AI and quantum, come together? We get a potential step change in computing power, security, and scientific discovery, and also a step change in risk, misuse, and societal disruption. Because all of us know that every powerful technology is dual use. The same capability that can protect lives can also be misused. So the right question is never just can we build it, but also how do we deploy it safely and who stays accountable. So the first way ordinary people may feel quantum plus artificial intelligence together is through trust infrastructure, how we protect banking, healthcare, critical systems, and digital identity in an AI driven world. Digital transformation is of late becoming more personal. I'll connect this to something everyone already senses. Most people think digital transformation is just more apps or moving documents online, but it has stages. First, we digitized documents. Paper became PDFs. Then we digitize processes, banking, travel bookings, payments, governance workflows. Then we digitize the world, sensors, cameras, wearables, GPS, smart infrastructure. Now we are digitizing something deeper, the human being. This is what many call as IOH, the Internet of Humans. Identity, behavior, biometrics, preferences, voice, face, habits, health signals, relationships. In other words, you become part of the data stream. When the world becomes more digital, your life becomes more copyable. Your voice can be cloned, your face can be animated, your writing style can be reproduced, your patterns can be predicted. And this leads to something that sounds like science fiction, but it's already emerging in early forms. The idea of a digitized person after death. It's not a soul, not immortality, but a digital representation created from messages, photos, videos, emails, and voice notes. Some people are already have built chatbots or avatars that imitate a deceased person's voice and style. So I'm not saying this as good or bad, but it can comfort some people, but it can also manipulate and harm. But it proves a bigger reality. The boundary between real and simulated is getting thinner. So now coming to AI plus quantum. Let me talk about the few opportunities and the risk involved in that. So what are the opportunities? Opportunity number one. As cyber threats grow, AI makes attacks cheaper to automate. For example, societies need stronger foundations of digital trust. Quantum security approaches are part of that future toolkit. It's not magic, but meaningful for high value links where trust is critical. Opportunity number two in healthcare and drug discovery. Even without quantum, AI is already accelerating imaging support, diagnostics, and drug screening. Quantum is promising longer term in deeper simulation of molecules, which could reduce trial and error and speed up the search for new medicines. Opportunity number three, smoother daily systems, transport, energy, and logistics. AI already helps route ambulances, traffic, reduce fuel consumptions, optimize supply chains, personalize learning. Quantum may eventually help with certain automation problems. That is not tomorrow morning, it's a direction of travel, not a guarantee on a calendar. In the case of business and economy, for business, the near term story is not quantum will replace your data center. The story is AI powered productivity plus quantum is a safe trust. So AI increases efficiency, but it also increases exposure, more automation, more dependence on digital system. In that environment, trust becomes an economic asset. Organization that can prove security and governance will outperform those that cannot. In the case of a defense in warfare, AI enabled autonomy can protect lives by taking over the most dangerous tasks like surveillance in hazardous zones, IED detection, search and rescue, perimeter monitoring, reducing exposure of soldiers and civilians. And for countries like India, the opportunities is bigger than research papers. It's building talent pipelines, test beds, pilots, supply chains, and real deployments. Finally, the challenges. The hard part is naming risk without fear mongering and without denial. Some of the risk encryption disruption. Large scale quantum computing could threaten some of today's widely used public key encryption. Even if that future is not immediate, the preparation time is long. That's why the world is moving to post quantum cryptography. The key point is simple security migration take years. So we need to plan early. The risk number two, AI accelerates cyber offense and deception. It can automate phishing, impersonation, misinformation, malware writing, deepfakes. It lowers the cost of manipulation. So we are entering a world where seeing is not always believing, where trust must be engineered. Last, governance lag. Technology moves faster than laws and social norms. So the risks we face are not only technical, it's ethical. Who is accountable when an AI system makes a harmful decision? How do we reduce bias and discrimination? How do we prevent unsafe autonomy in high stakes settings? How do we protect children, privacy, and democratic processes from synthetic media? And finally, in future warfare, the danger is speed without judgment. And that is very dangerous. And so, what should we do? We should treat quantum plus AI the way we treated aviation or nuclear energy. And I will close with a line that keeps this human. Quantum may change the limits of computation, and AI may change the limits of automation, but our real job is to protect the limits of human responsibility. Thank you.
Said, very well said. You really put the whole thing in perspective. I love the way this pattern is emerging right from Professor our chief guest TP Srinivasanji's introductory remarks to what the other panelists had said, and where you left it, where you talked about all the issues that come staring at a society that is embracing technology faster than we can actually recognize it. So you brought the all the human elements wonderfully well as well, Dr. Latha Christie. Thank you so much for your contribution. I will potentially come back to you with a follow-up question. This is a high intensity webinar. We have two more things to do. I'd like to just pose a question to Dr. Latha Christie and Philip Thomas. Thank you for your patience, folks. This has been a riveting webinar. And so, Dr. Christie and Mr. Philip Thomas, we, everyone invariably talked about the guardrails and the ethical challenges and conflicts. What are some one, two, three kind of big, broad stroke struggles and challenges you are likely to see, and how will it play out insofar as the ethical dilemmas are concerned, and what guardrails are we talking about? How does that play out in, let's say, common man's parlance and so on? Philip, you may want to go first.
Sure, sure. So I think so. It's very hard, honestly, to do guardrails in a very macro scale. So let's be clear. Moral laws have their limitations. But I want to also talk about a couple of other things. One of the things that we've obviously lost with the advent of intense technologies, if I may use that word, is the idea of community and interpersonal communication. We don't meet with people, right? The fact is, because we don't meet with people, we don't really know what affects the other person. So I think along with the idea of possibility, we've got to start bringing in the concept of positivity. I mean, see, the change is happening. I mean, change is inevitable. We can't fight change. The real question is, how do we deal with change and how do we make it a better world? So with guardrails, there are a couple of things. One, of course, we can do a bunch of things that we tend to do within the legal system, to protect people, to make sure that, a patient, for example, patient privacy or banking information is kept together. But there is another side that I think we've got to be very careful about. And this, I think I want to address your question of how does this affect people who are poor in the bottom of the pyramid in India, using Dr. Prahlad's term. See, we have a very unique concept in India called Jugad. And many times the government tries to stop Jugad, which is a problem. We should not be stopping Jugad. We should be allowing its expansion so that they begin to understand the limits of their creativity within the concept of the world at large. So I think one of the things that we have been very good in India, at least from my growing up days, and even it's changed a lot, is that we've been very good at stopping things. The real question is, how do we allow things now? And how do we allow smaller kids who are poor to dream big? I mean, Professor Yogi talked about environmental factors. I did live for a very brief time, 3 months, when I was a college kid. I lived in a mud hut in the middle of Bihar during summer. It was cool inside. It was actually cool. There was no electricity. It was cool. But then suddenly now I'm living in a big house where I need to have insulation and everything. And suddenly I forgot how comfortable that was in those days. or the simplicity of food. You understand what I'm saying? There is something about rediscovering simplicity that can actually be a great way to help us rediscover our own humanity. So I just want to say that, and let Dr. Latha respond.
So, yeah, innovation needs rails. When people hear future technologies, I think they imagine speed, a smarter AI, quantum breakthroughs, autonomous system, and a world that feels like science fiction. But I feel the problem is not only what technology can do, the real problem is what it can do at that scale, fast, and in the wrong hands. So the right question is not just can we build it, what guardrails keep it safe, and who stays accountable. That's why I just yesterday I finished my defense viva on artificial general intelligence and ethical governance. I made a new framework for that. So in earlier technological eras, harm often come from hardware failure. Today, harm can come from decision failure, an AI system recommending the wrong action, a fake video triggering panic, for example, a cyber attack amplified by automation. So now we are moving towards three realities: AI becoming agentic, digital life becoming copyable, security becoming foundational. So I feel governance is not bureaucracy, governance is safety engineering for society. So what I wanted to say is in rails, if I say rail, our responsibility, our someone must own the outcome. It begins with clarity: who signs off deployment, who is accountable for harms, who can stop the system if something goes wrong. Okay, and then A, access control, limit who can use what and how. Role based access. Not everyone gets the same power, like separation of duties, rate limits, and all those things. And then I, integrity, protect data, models, and communication. So, zero trust security, these are some of the things. Encryption, key management that is future ready. And then L, limits, define what the system must never do. So, no fully autonomous lethal decisions without accountable human control, human in loop, no high risk medical decisions without clinician oversight, no irreversible actions without human confirmation. So, no identity creation or digital afterlife replication without consent. And finally, yes, surveillance and safety checks. Governance must be ongoing. So it should be like red teaming, attack your own system before others do, audio trails and so on. So finally, I wanted to say that in defense, the danger is speed without judgment. So governance is not only laws. People often think governance means a regulation. But governance is a stack of technical guardrails, organizational guardrails, legal guardrails, social guardrails. So the finally I want to close with one line. The future belongs not to the most powerful technologies, but to the most trusted technologies. The one we can audit, control, and hold accountable. So that's why innovation needs rails, accountability, security, limits, and continuous safety checks. That's what I wanted to answer for that.
Hey, lovely. Like someone alluded to, 90 minutes is not enough for a topic like this when you bring four heavy hitters and a chief guest who's got so much to offer as wisdom and insight. So let me go to Philip G and say, Piyush, and ask. You've been in data and AI for a while, so you've worked with the best of breed companies. What keeps you excited and what keeps you going? And let me also add, what keeps you nervous or what gets you nervous?
Well, of course, what happened in the past is not a predictor of the future, as we all know. So I definitely have enjoyed my time serving clients around the world, even though I've stayed in Silicon Valley for the last 30 years. In those 30 years, I've been traveling to my worldwide clients almost on a weekly basis to 40 different countries that I've served. And what that gave me was a view into problems that companies, large and small, Fortune 500 companies, global companies were facing, and how to modernize their business leveraging emerging technologies. And of course, the common thread in my experience has been the data and applied AI technologies. We used to call it cognitive computing during IBM Watson days. And then now, of course, everybody's adopted the term AI. But long back, AI was not the operative word. AI was a dirty word because researchers felt that their efforts were being wasted and because they were not being funded. So, that said, what excites me is the space of innovation that's happening in this field, that you sleep one night and get up in the morning with so many different releases from all these different startups and even these hyperscaler companies, like whether it is Google, whether it is Amazon, whether it is Microsoft. They are doing partnerships, they are doing uh, innovation announcements and events and so on and so forth. And just in San Francisco alone, there are more than 100 meetups in the AI and emerging technology space every week. So imagine the ecosystem that we are building, and this ecosystem comprises of innovators, engineers, funders, investors, and all of them coming together and helping the next generation and sharing the knowledge freely so that overall society can benefit and overall, uh, of course, everybody looks for these startups to make money, whether they get into IPO or get acquired. But ultimately, we are moving the needle in terms of serving the businesses and ultimately serving humanity. And that's what keeps me excited, getting up every day morning and wanting to immerse myself deeply into it, play with the newer tools, and it's been keeping me very, very active. And look here, we are here on a weekend, and we all here, so we are all made from the same block. We all come from the land of our sages, where wisdom is more important than earning money. And if both of these things happen together, that's what keeps me happy.
Very well spoken. Thank you. What I like is the immense possibility, but I'm a little anxious about how much time it'll take for it to really trickle down all the way to the base of the pyramid. Really, for me, because I'm from India and because I see a huge base of people at the bottom, my questions are always like, how will it impact the common man out there? And so I'll pose a two-part question, and I request the honorable chief guest, Srinivasanji, to respond, and then maybe Yogi also could chime in. It's two-part in the sense of one encompasses a geopolitical risk that we will be living in as nations rapidly advance to get their hands on these technology. And so, Honorable Ambassador, if you could chime in on the volatile. We are one push button away from a war-like situation that we saw in recent years. So there's a heightened geopolitical risk. Does it cause anxiety in you is my question. And then the question to Yogi ji is, um, can the poor access these benefits as fast as possible? For instance, in India, some parts of Hyderabad where it is very sweltering hot, we are used to having straw mats at the entrances and at rooftops to cool. So that's affordable for us at this point, not the changing colors and so on. So affordability to the poor is directed at you. The geopolitical risk for Ambassador, please.
Thank you very much. It's already 11 o'clock my time, Sunday night. So I'm not at my best. But I'm glad you asked a geopolitical question rather than a technical question. As I think I hinted in my initial talk that the world is topsy-turvy, that we all understand. It's not only topsy-turvy, it keeps changing by the minute, depending on the temper of a single man somewhere in the United States. So the geopolitical risk is much more today than ever before. And we are just waiting that this period will be over. But that doesn't change the rapidity of the changes in geopolitics. The reality is that the post-World War system enshrined in the UN Charter is dead. There is no possibility of the UN doing anything when a permanent member of the Security Council invades another member of the United Nations. This was not expected. In fact, somebody raised a question, if that happens, what will you do? And everybody laughed. They said, oh, permanent member will fight a war against another member. Impossible. We don't need to think about that eventuality. But we are here, there now. And the Secretary General is persona non grata in a member country. You know that. So what is left of the United Nations? During the pandemic, China prevented the Security Council from even meeting because they were afraid that the responsibility will put on them. So none of these was envisaged in the global order that we had in mind. And therefore, we are all in the process of adjusting ourselves to a possible new global order. And therefore, people are not trusting anyone else. They're all keeping their plans secret, because you never know which camp you will end up and what the camps will be. That's as bad as that. And that is why you find so many issues remaining unresolved. The Security Council is out of it because 5 vetoes are there to veto everything. And therefore, we are actually looking at the possibility of an alternative to the United Nations. After the First World War, we had League of Nations, and now United Nations. Maybe time has come to have another structure which would guarantee equality and sovereignty, etc., etc. So it's a very, very uncertain situation. And technology, as I explained, sometimes helps, sometimes hurts political views, and that we have to live with. And that is the interesting world we are in. I heard the definition of interesting in the American dictionary. So it could be either very bad or worth considering. Thank you very much.
Yogi ji, a short, quick reply from you.
Okay, so I'm coming from the technology side. Yeah, back, I think around 1981, 82, I was at a solar energy conference and a keynote speaker there. At that time, solar panels price was $100 a watt of output. And the speaker said, I foresee one day that price will be down to $1 a watt, from $100 to $100. Everybody in the audience laughed at him. So, he's just dreaming. And today, as far as the cost is concerned, it's come down to about 25 cents a watt. And so I'm going into the affordability of the technologies. The innovations that I just mentioned, and these are just few, there are many other innovations. When I give a lecture on that, even 1 hour is not enough. So, for example, the nanoscale antennas, and I said eventually they will be biologically grown. The cost over there, I mean, even 25 cents is too much. And so where we are going to is using nature to provide for our needs, and then doing it at a cost level that everybody can afford. Then you say, well, even then, some in the lower income level may not be able to afford, and that's where policy comes in. Again, giving you an example, but you can utilize that in different ways. So I was in Gainesville, Florida, and the electrical utility there was owned by the city. And so we were at that time promoting solar water heating. And the problem with solar water heating was initial cost. It was high, even though you are getting the benefit throughout its lifetime. So I proposed to the city that the utility pay for the initial costs and charge only that much from the customers that they are saving from that solar water heater. And eventually, in about 10 years, their Cost will be paid with interest to the utility. Utility will benefit, and so will the customer. So point I'm making is you can come up with policy where it is a win-win situation for everyone, and you take that burden of initial costs away from poor customers. So that's the electrical power production. I gave another example of cooling. Now, right now, poor people just cannot afford cooling. But if you have a paint that can be applied as spray paint and that cools your house by itself, because it is using nature now, because we are utilizing the way nature exchanges heat, and that is by radiation to deep space. And that becomes affordable for even poor people. And so then again, policy comes into the picture as to how you help the very poor in the initial cost.
Fantastic. Thank you for those wonderful responses. It's been my pleasure moderating this panel. Now I'll request my colleague, esteemed colleague, Secretary Sid Jain, to come in on and wrap it up for us. And then the leaders, Thomas Abraham and Prakash ji, can do some informal interaction based on your availability. Sid Jain, please.
Thank you all for being here on a Saturday. Different time zones, it's afternoon, morning, or night, wherever you guys are. But it's a fantastic way to set the tone as we end 2025 and start 2026. The challenges of AI remain, and you guys have given enough color for each one of us here in the room to address it in different forms. And Lataji, there's no better way to end the session than use your own quote. You're using alphabetically defining how to do it. So I would say everybody take a note of these. If you have taken notes, we'll also circulate this in clips. But let me start by thanking our esteemed chief guest, Ambassador Srinivasan, for taking the time, joining GOPIO in this very much forum, our chairman, Dr. Thomas Abraham, our moderator, Sunil, who stepped in for Professor Prabhu Guptara, who actually put this all together and could not for a personal loss in his family, which made him not be joining with us. But he put this entire thing together, and let's not forget and take a second to pray for the person who is no longer between us. And also to our esteemed speakers who are here, Philip, Piyush ji, Yogi ji, as well as Lata ji. You guys did a phenomenal job in covering these points. To our president, Prakash ji, you give us continued support. To all the folks that are from GOPIO different chapters, international as well as chapter heads who are here in the room, we acknowledge your presence. To Vatsala ji, who makes things happen in the background, always smoothly, so that we don't see any problems at all. We have some youth initiative leaders like Vasu Pawar ji here. We have Bharat Rana ji, who heads the North Jersey chapter, and Nami Kaur ji, who is the global ambassador for GOPIO. So recognizing a few individual folks, but there are a lot of GOPIO folks in the room. And I'm sure each one of them is going to go to their respective chapters and roles back. Take the learnings from you folks in this room and welcome you back again in 2026 in some way, shape, or form to expand on these thoughts. On GOPIO side, I encourage everyone who, if you want to continue to be part of these webinars, become a member of either the international or any one of our chapters. We offer these experiences for two reasons. One, to continuously keep ourselves updated, but two, as a community, as a diaspora, to become stronger, better, and better representative of what we're doing ahead. Thank you all for being here on a Saturday. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sid. I will make a few remarks. First of all, thank you all, Ambassador Srinivasan, and all fantastic speakers. We had in 95 minutes, we covered a whole lot of things. As Sid mentioned, we have, according to our new amendment in our constitution, people above 60, you get 1/3 of the membership fee off. So if it is $1,500, you can get it for $1,000, or you can take 5-year membership. It's a member-supported organization. We have done quite well for last 36 years. many of you have OCI card. This was our creation, 1989, when we said dual nationality. It took about 15 years, or rather PAO card, and another 16 years to get OCA card. So we have done collectively a lot of things. We have accomplished a great deal of things, including there was an issue of passport surrender when government of India wanted to start a couple of $1,000s as fines, which nobody knew, and we stopped it right within 10 days. So these kind of things happen, but we help government of India and India, so many other things. We motivate people to help India. One is in technology. We had 3 technology session this year. We had also a physical meeting shaping future technologies, diaspora role in Brisbane, Australia. And taking it further, what we are planning to do is that we have a Science and Technology Council, and we want to include all of you in that WhatsApp group. We don't allow anybody to post any other information, only science and technology. And to take it further up, what we plan to do is that we are going to create a network for each of the technologies separately, whether it is advanced material, nanotechnology, solar energy, AI, quantum computing, so that we will develop a global network of Indian scientists, entrepreneurs, engineers, so that they can all be communicating each other and know each other. And this will be an initiative from GOPIO Science and Technology Council. So we are moving forward with so many things. We also have a GOPIO, the Diaspora Museum, which we are launched already. We campaign on that. And we are working, a lot of groundwork is needed to do. This will be a major museum, hopefully in New Delhi. So we will keep you informed. So many things are happening.
The
Prakash,
Mentorship Council.
Something? Go ahead, Prakash.
The Mentorship Council.
Go ahead.
We are trying to create a mentorship council so that people who are knowledgeable can help startups in India, working through the incubators in India, in universities in India. And so we're creating a mentorship council of people who are well-established, experienced businessmen, scientists, engineers, who could help startups in India.